There we go.
Welcome, everyone. I'm super excited about tonight, and I'm sure a lot of you are as well. Rachel Taylor is a nutritionist, so it's so fun that tonight we get to learn all about doTERRA's supplements and ultimately how to use doTERRA to really enhance what you're doing with your daily nutrition and how you're getting nutrients to your body. So I'm really excited about it. A couple reminders are, I'm certain you guys probably have it all now, but on the bottom, you can stop or start your video. You can also unmute yourself, but don't unmute yourself until we open it for questions near the end. But definitely, if you have questions as we go throughout the class, do not hesitate to open up the chat box and just go ahead and type in your questions. And if they're not already answered by another educator here, we'll also go back and we'll go through the questions and make sure Rachel can cover some of those at the end. So especially if you have maybe some more in-depth questions on a certain supplement or maybe specific things you're processing through even for your own supplement plan, Rachel's gonna have a lot to offer in teaching you. So anyways, Rachel, I originally met here in Waco. We got connected through my nanny actually, and she's like, you have to meet my friend Rachel. She's just like you and she loves all things health. And that is totally Rachel. Not only is she a nutritionist, but she like walks and acts out what she teaches, which I love. So she has so much practical knowledge too. It's just not stuff that she's teaching, it's stuff she's living and seeing awesome results with. And so you guys are gonna love her. Her and her friend Justin live in Denver, Colorado. And so they get lots of fun outdoors mountain time, which is so cool. And yeah, I'm excited for you to take over and to learn from you more tonight, Rachel.
Well, thank you. You're so kind. I'm so excited. This truly is my favorite thing to talk about ever. So sometimes it's a little hard for me to keep it like condensed. So it'll be hard tonight, but I'm really excited. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can you guys, is it good?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so obviously tonight we're talking nutrition and supplements, and we're going to kind of put in there some cleansing techniques or ideas or whatever. Okay, so let's get right into it. I think the biggest things to ask ourselves when we go into something like this is, why are people around us, or why are we so sick so often? Like, chronic disease, right? About 90% of it, if not more, is preventable, right? And so how do you prevent that? A lot of it all comes down to the micronutrients. So basically everything that we get nutritionally from our food or supplements, right? And so one of the things that is shocking to me when I kind of look through some of these is about half of Americans have a chronic disease that is preventable. Like, if we just think about that number wise, and there's like almost what, like 400 million in the US, that's like 200 million people who have chronic diseases that could be switched, right? But when you really think about it, we're like, okay, well, how do we reverse that, right? And a lot of times we'll say nutritionally. But the problem is these days is we don't actually get all of our nutrients from like the fruits and vegetables and things like that we're eating. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, all of our nutrients these days are super, super depleted. So I think I have it in here. It takes about 20 oranges nowadays to get what you could have, or vitamin C wise. So it takes 20 oranges to get the amount of vitamin C that you would have gotten in one orange about 50 to 75 years ago. That's also pretty wild. And so that just goes to show that no matter how you eat, if you eat perfectly plant-based, super balanced, right, we're still gonna be deficient in a lot of our and a lot of everything that goes on in our body, right? So another thing to keep in mind too is when we go to the store, whether you buy organic or not, and organic is 100% better, we could go into that later, but the thing is a lot of times also our food is picked earlier than it should be, so that when it gets to the supermarket, to us, whatever it is, then it's ripe then, right? But if you pick it early, then it doesn't have time to also get all those nutrients that we need. So that's another reason. Another thing would be a lot of times they're sprayed with chemicals, so that also kind of depletes the nutrients that we're getting, right? So if we can't get all the nutrients from our foods that we're eating, even if we eat perfectly, we have to supplement, right? So right here, I feel like I could, again, preach on this stuff forever because nutrition is truly the foundation of our health. Like, oils are incredible for us, but if we don't have certain nutrients, certain things like certain oils aren't going to fix the problem for us, right? So if you're like chronically tired, peppermint's going to be awesome for you to wake up, right? But a lot of times you need like some vitamin B's, or you're low in magnesium, certain things like that, right? And so the biggest thing we have to look at is the micronutrients, right? And when you have the optimal amount, not just like the daily value that we see a lot of times on nutrition facts, you actually even need more than that most of the time, right? And so you'll actually see so much more increased energy and mental clarity. That is like the number one thing that I see people come to me for. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm just so tired all the time. Or I feel like I have a lot of brain fog. Like, I'm just in a fog all the time. And that was totally me. Like, just speaking from experience, I've been in natural health or learning this stuff for close to 10 years now. And even before I started using doTERRA specifically, I was in this category, and I tried a ton of different herbs. And so I'll go into some more of the supplements specifically in a moment, but this is super normal, like, unfortunately, and it's not supposed to be normal, right? The other thing is when we don't have, again, the right amount of nutrients, things like our cardiovascular health, inflammatory responses are off. A lot of times we can get some more pain. Just a lot of different things go wrong, again, because it's our foundation, right? So the biggest thing that you could do for your health is right here. The Lifelong Vitality Pack from doTERRA. And it's 3, and I'll go into each of them, but it's a 3-pack of supplements. And we'll just go into it, and I'll explain it as we go. So the one on the very right over here, this Microplex, that is basically your plant-based multivitamin and mineral. So the thing to really understand with this is plant-based. Your body knows what to do with plants, right? So this complex is comes from obviously plants, like I said, but it's also in the ratios that your body most needs and absorbs and will actually utilize, right? And so
I think it's next week.
There we go. So again, this is what we call a most bioavailable multivitamin and mineral, right? So what that means is the way that doTERRA puts this together is it's in, well, the full dose will be 4 pills, and we take about half at a time, right? But they're not super tightly packed, so that's a big thing, is your body can actually break it down really well, right? But then also, again, it's just engineered in a way that your body will absorb. The other thing is this right here, the one next to it, is your omega-3s. Now this one is going to be huge for, like, again, what we talked about with the mental clarity and the brain fog, because your brain is 70% fat. And so if you don't have the right amount of fats in there, which again is the omegas, then you'll experience a lot of the like slow thinking or forgetfulness or brain fog, things like that. But the really cool thing, and the reason that these supplements are so incredible, is because there are already essential oils in there. So there's, if I remember right, frankincense, I believe wild orange, clove. So specifically frankincense is an amazing cellular health oil. And so again, if it's attached with those omega-3s, imagine what it does to those brain cells and your neurons, right? And then long-term preventative health as well. Again, it'll be like an immune booster as well with having those oils in there. So many other things. And as we all know, at this point, there's literally, you can't get this anywhere else because you won't get the quality oils from any other company, right? Or even probably essential oils in a supplement. So this is super, super huge. And then this third one right here, the Alpha CRS, they call this Cellular Vitality Complex. So this is like an herbal complex that has things like really high in antioxidants. So it's going to be really good at gently cleansing you because a lot of toxic buildup, which again we'll talk about in a little bit, can also contribute to a lot of those things like brain fog, immune function, fatigue, different things like that. And so anyways, it's really good natural cleanser, but also it really boosts your cells and gives you a lot more energy because those cells are getting a lot less toxins in them. It also has things in there that will boost them. So kind of clean them out and boost your cells so that they operate the way that they're supposed to. So again, super cool that if you put it all together, this is about 12 servings of fruit and vegetables a day, which is awesome, as we should all be getting all of our fruits and vegetables in. But like we said, this is huge considering how much like an orange it would take, you know, to get the amount of nutrients we need. The other thing that is super important to understand about just the whole supplement pack is there's none of these crazy fillers or preservatives, things like that. Like, because if you go to the store and you buy, like, for example, like a one-a-day men's, women's, whatever, they're going to be one, super, super packed. It's going to be in a form your body can't absorb. And there's going to be a lot of different, you just don't even know, like a lot of, because these aren't regulated a lot of times, right? So you could have a whole array of different chemicals in there. We don't really know what they do. So again, that's why doTERRA is so incredible, because again, they're super transparent with the way that they make these. So again, I feel like I could talk forever on these. The one thing actually I did want to say, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, I remember when you first started in your doTERRA journey, you were sharing all the supplements that you were taking because you were already super on top of your wellness, like wellness game. And I'm curious because like I meet with people too that they're like, I would consider way more on top of their supplement game than other people. And they're taking all these different things and they're actually spending a lot every single month on supplements. And so I'm curious what your experience is when you worked with your clients, you transitioned to doTERRA. Did people start like saving money on supplements or did they have to spend more with Lifelong Vitality Pack?
Oh, I'm so happy you brought that up because I personally, before I was even taking these, was probably spending at least $150 a month on supplements. And that's also kind of including some like probiotics and stuff too. But again, I could spend sometimes upwards to $300. And also that said, I would also have clients, especially when I was in Waco, who would walk out the door, like every time they would meet with me, maybe once every 2 weeks with another 100, 150. So again, they could be spending about $300 a month if you're like really trying to get into this. And sometimes it really wasn't even doing everything that they needed it to be doing, right? Because we'd have to pick and choose different supplements. And so that was honestly one of the really, really cool things, especially with a lot of my clients, was we were saving so much money for them, but also seeing such better results. Because this is just, again, it's just geniusly made. with the way it's put together. So yes, this is so much cheaper than what you could be buying on a regular basis, right? And the other thing that's really important to keep in mind too is as you start using a lot of your essential oils, there's actually a couple people in doTERRA that say, I think Symphony of the Cells, you'll talk about that later, but that taking the Lifelong Vitality Pack actually makes your oils work even better. So it's just like a big circular thing as to why this is so foundational, because yes, it will make you healthier too, but when you really need to use your oils or also need things emotionally, right? It's gonna, because this has already cleaned out your cells and the oils don't have to do that. They do the other benefits that you want it to see, right? So it's like overall, one with oils and then with the Vitality Pack, you'll be doing so much for your health, but actually saving so much money. So again, we could talk about this forever, but we'll go on to the next one. So this, again, is gut health. Right here is gut health. And this is super, super big for me because for a long time, I had a lot of gut issues. But really quick, I want to kind of go over a little bit of what damages your gut. First, you have to understand that your gut is like your second brain. For example, you make more serotonin in your gut than you do your brain. And there's so much studies right now on like the gut-brain connection. Like even think about like when we talk about butterflies in our stomach, right? That's an emotion up here, but we're feeling it in our stomach. Just a small little example of how that relates, right? So again, if we're talking brain stuff, which a lot of this can kind of go back to that, like brain fog or fatigue or memory, stuff like that, then again, your gut is going to be super, super huge. And so there's so many things these days that will damage our gut health. So one being an unhealthy diet, processed foods, again, they just have so many preservatives, contaminants, and honestly, especially in the US, they don't have to tell you exactly what's all in their stuff, right? So that's one. Two, antibiotic use. And there are always certain situations where antibiotics is like, you definitely need to use them. But the thing you have to understand is antibiotics wipe out the good bacteria in your gut. And the good bacteria actually makes like nutrients for you. It fends off a lot of, bad bacteria or fungus or any other pathogen. So it's it's a really big deal to kill off all of your antibiotics. And I've heard a lot of different things, but essentially it takes a really long time to really restore your gut after you've taken antibiotics. I've heard anywhere from like 2 months to 2 years. So even within that, knowing that, again, why we love our oils, right? And then lack of regular physical activity, again, because getting your body moving obviously gets blood flowing, again, just makes all kinds of enzymes and gut stuff really work, okay? Poor sleep habits, and then stress as well is a really, really big one. So I would say probably the most common ones that we'll know and do the most damage are probably going to be your unhealthy diet and your antibiotic use. Now, for me, a long time ago, I had lost a ton of weight super, super fast, wasn't eating well at all, and this destroyed my gut. And for the longest time, again, I was using a ton of different supplements on a regular basis. But again, it wasn't until I was really getting these specific supplements with the Lifelong Vitality Pack, so the Terrazyme and the PB Assist, which we'll go into in a second, that it really restored and actually like fixed my hormones and my energy, and it was just a cascade. So again, gut health is like another really, really vital thing that will affect a lot of the rest of your systems in your body. Okay, so first let's talk about Terrazyme. Terrazyme is super important. So after about the age of 25, your body really starts to slow down the amount of enzymes that are being made. And there's enzymes all over your body, not just in your digestive tract to break down food, but there's also metabolism enzymes that, you know, clean you out, make you, so many different things. But what's really crazy is if you're really deficient, and again, the diet, we'll go into that too. But if you're really deficient, your body will take some of those metabolism and other enzymes and pull it into your gut so that it can actually break things down. So if you're low in enzymes, the rest of your body's actually kind of taking the brunt of it because all these other systems aren't going to work as well, right? And so Terzyme is super, super important because it actually puts those enzymes back in there and really, really helps you or your body break things down and lets the other things happen the way that they should. And the other thing that's really cool, really quick, that I'll say about Terzyme, there's a little experiment done by a couple other people I know in doTERRA here in Colorado. And they said that they took, there was like a 2-day-old oatmeal in like a bowl. And it's pretty gross, but they literally opened the capsule of the Terzyme and put it all in there. And within about 10 minutes, the oatmeal was like becoming liquid again. Like it was just starting to break things down and they could literally see it changing it. So I say that to say that it is very obvious that these things really, really help with everything in your gut. The other thing I really quick want to mention with Terzyme is some people, their gut is so out of balance that when they actually start the Lifelong Vitality Pack, they get a little bit bloated or they feel really uncomfortable. Again, it's just because your gut, majority of the time, it's because your gut is so imbalanced that it's almost like it's detoxing fast, or there's a lot of different things that it's doing. So if that's you and you notice that as you start taking it, what I would suggest is taking or doubling up on Terzyme. So typically you take 3 a day. So taking 6 a day for about a week, and that will literally clear a ton of stuff out. And then you start retaking slowly your Lifelong Vitality Pack. That's worked a lot for a lot of people. My mom also, she had a pretty rough gut and she's slow on supplement taking, but taking Terzyme has helped her a lot. Okay, next thing I want to talk about here is this PB Assist. So PB Assist is the probiotic of, I actually have mine right here because I take mine at night, which I want to show you too. But this probiotic, I don't know if you guys can see, it's double encapsulated, and you see it's a little green. Well, the reason it is double encapsulated is because if you don't have it double encapsulated, when you take the supplement, your stomach acid will break it down, and then the probiotics actually won't even make it to your gut. They just die off in your stomach. So it's super important, and this is why doTERRA, again, is genius with their supplements, because it's double encapsulated. Now that green stuff that you see in there is basically some carbohydrates for the probiotics to live off of, right? So that when it gets to your gut, they're alive and well. So that's honestly very oversimplified, but I say that to say that this probiotic, you will see a huge difference compared to what you would be buying like at the store. And really quick, I'll mention too, when you get the Lifelong Vitality Pack, you can get 3 supplements at a discounted price. And so I always get the probiotic and Terzyme with my Lifelong Vitality Pack every month. And that actually makes this PB Assist $20, which if you even go to, and again, this is part of why I was spending so much money all the time, is if you go to like a health food store and you buy one of their like top tier probiotics, you're spending at least $30 or $40, sometimes $50 for a 30-day supply. So again, this is just so huge and so kind of doTERRA to do things the way that they do it, because it makes a huge, huge difference. And then also for the kiddos, right here, you'll see the PB Assist. And I think Kristen could probably talk a little bit more on this. I haven't had this as often, but I hear kids love it. It's like comes in like a little pixie stick kind of thing, and you can put it in water and stir it in there. And it actually, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they have some technology where it's also those probiotics are double encapsulated. Am I wrong?
Yeah. And it's
Okay.
totally like you can use it for bribing. That's how good it is. And they can honestly, Elliot, sometimes he doesn't even put it in water. He'll just put it directly in his mouth. And it's like almost like a pixie stick or something. It's sweetened with a safe sweetener called xylitol. And kids love it.
Yeah, so that's super, super important to for your kiddos. I didn't mention on the last slide, but there is also like a kids version of the Lifelong Vitality Pack, which is super cool. I actually got it for myself because I just honestly wanted to try it, and I think it's also pretty good. It is basically like the nutrient complex, and they're in like little chewable sizes, or I think you take one or two each kid. It depends on the age. And then there is a omega-3 for them too, and it's sweetened, or not sweetened, but it tastes like wild orange, and they use the wild orange essential oil. So, little brief moment on those kiddos. Okay, next here. So, I'm not going to go into full detail on all of these supplements, just because in either previous continuing education classes or ones that are coming, you'll actually learn a little bit more about each of these. So I'll just briefly go through them. Right here first is the Deep Blue Polyphenol Complex, and I love these. I honestly get again, this is actually a super good deal. Side note, this is one of the supplements that you can add on with the Lifelong Vitality Pack, and this is normally $60, I believe, for 30 days, and you can get it for $20. It is like a lifesaver for me. Whenever you're feeling really any kind of pain. So if that's joints for you or headaches, I would honestly say it's like a natural ibuprofen, something along those lines, but sometimes a little stronger. For women out there, I use these for period cramps, and it helps so much. Like, I honestly won't go a month without them anymore in case they get bad. This next one down here is the Adaptive Calming Blend, and that one you'll probably hear a lot more about in the stress. You probably already talked about it, the emotions, as continuing education, but that's super cool. It has GABA, which is a neurotransmitter kind of thing for your brain, so it really helps calm you down. Turmeric capsules, this is like groundbreaking stuff. I wish I had more time to talk about it because this is really, really big. This is the turmeric herb combined with the turmeric essential oil. And if you know a lot in natural health stuff, you know that turmeric is really, really good anti-inflammatory, liver health, cellular health, all that kind of stuff, but it's really hard for your body to absorb. And so combining it right here with the essential oil makes it like through the roof. No other supplement is like it. And again, you'll probably hear a little bit more about that in like the pain management continuing education class. And then this one right here, the Serenity capsules, if you're someone who struggles again with some sleep, that is going to be super, super good. I like to combine that actually with the Copaiba soft gels. And I don't have a ton of sleeping issues, but I get super restful sleep when I take this. So it's really, really great. These ones right here, the phytoestrogen and bone nutrient, you'll probably hear a little bit more about that in the women's health continuing education class. This phytoestrogen is one that I like to take after I do a cleanse, because then it also kind of cleanses your hormones. This is if you're someone who has really bad, like I kind of mentioned, some period cramps or PMS or anything like that. Also, if you're kind of going through menopause and you have a lot of hot flashes, that's also a really, really good one to take. The bone nutrient, again, it's just going to be a lot of calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, those kind of things. If you need a little extra, I know Kristen has a really cool story with that. She actually, I don't know if you want to share it, but it was really, you could see a difference, right? when you took the bone nutrient? Yeah.
Yes, I have it posted on the LDC. It was pretty crazy because during my pregnancy, started to notice that my two bottom teeth were starting to get more like translucent down here. And I thought after pregnancy it would go away, and it did not. And I tried all sorts of things post-pregnancy, like oil pulling, and like obviously was being intentional with my toothpaste and my mouthwash and everything. And nothing really was changing it until I started taking bone nutrient. I took it for 1 month with the Terrazyme to increase absorption, and no joke, like you can see on the LDC my pictures of my teeth, which obviously your teeth are a bone in your body. So I can only imagine what the rest of my bones were doing during that process. So anyways, it was really cool.
Super cool. Again, I think when you understand like when we have little stories of like what this supplement did or that supplement did, I think it really just pulls together. If you look at the whole picture, these supplements are super, super, super high quality. So again, for such a reasonable price. Okay. Next one right here is Mito 2 Max. I'll probably talk about that one in a later slide a little bit more, just because I don't know if you'll hear as much about that one in coming or past continuing educations. And then we will also talk a little bit more right here about this endocrine complex, really helps your body detox. And then Yaropalm Cellular Beauty Complex. That one is really nice. I actually have mine right over here too, take them periodically. But this is if you're someone who has some skin issues or really looking to like see your skin kind of glow, that would be a really, really good supplement to take. I have some really good oils in there too that help even with like immune support as well. So if you guys have any questions, one thing I'll say really quick before we move on is sometimes when you learn about supplements and just nutrition stuff in general, it can feel super overwhelming. And you're like, oh my God, I have to take all these supplements. And I just want to stop you there and say, you don't have to take all of them. In fact, you probably shouldn't, but also you gotta slowly integrate these things into your life, because if you go like all in super fast, majority of the time, most people like totally stop or give up, right? I mean, we've all kind of been there. You're like, I go all in and then I get burnt out. So we really have to make these habits. And a lot of times the easiest way to do that is to maybe start like, okay, I'm going to start taking half a dose of the Vitality Pack to start, right? And then you're like, okay, I'm feeling good. You get up to the full dose. And then we introduce maybe some Terrazyme and PD Assist, right? And then you just get used to taking supplements on a regular basis. So just take a lot of this knowing that you don't need to take all of these things. And each person's going to be different. So we can talk through a couple of things at the end if needed, but also I think the person who enrolls you can also help you a lot figure out which supplements are going to be best for you. Okay, right here, Mito 2 Max. So Mito 2 Max is also kind of herbal complex, but it helps a lot with cellular energy production. So if you're someone, again, who's super tired on a regular basis, or what's really big is if you have adrenal fatigue or any sort of autoimmune stuff, Mito 2 Max is super, super helpful, just because it takes a lot of the pressure off of those energy producing organs, because again, it's boosting your cells at the cellular level. For those of you who like a lot of the sciencey things like me, it's specifically your mitochondria kind of speeds that energy process up naturally, you know, with herbs and things like that. If you're someone who's kind of trying to not have as much caffeine, again, if you're someone who's like the adrenal fatigue or autoimmune, that could be you, and this one would be really helpful. I actually took this for a little bit. It's one that I take periodically, but when I'm really kind of focusing maybe on my exercise part of my healthy routine or whatever, I'll take this. Or if I like to run a lot, so if I'm wanting to maybe get ready for a half marathon or something along those lines, this is super helpful. I've heard a story of some people saying, maybe it was Tyler or Kristen that told me this, but a woman who really loves triathlons and stuff like that. She did a race and she was like, I didn't train very well, didn't expect to have a really good PR or anything like that, like do really well. And she'd been taking Mito 2 Max and she was like, that was the best thing I ever did. And it wasn't even like crazy, crazy hard. And it's honestly just because your energy is so increased. It brings so much more oxygen to your muscles and all those kinds of things. Okay, so this next one here is the Zendocrine complex, and this one will kind of come together here in a moment when we talk about, oh, I gotta hurry up. When we talk about the cleanse, and Zendocrine basically helps all of your cleansing organs and supports them well, because those ones a lot of times are hit the hardest, especially when you guys have learned about the toxin and reducing toxins in your home. This is the way you can reduce toxins in this home. Okay, it really helps essentially just detoxification. It blends really, really well with the Zendocrine oil, and you can get that in a supplement or simply the oil and put it in your water. So we'll talk about more of that in just a moment. And then another one that I wanted to touch on really quickly as well that goes along with the cleanse that we'll talk about here in a second is DDR Prime. Now DDR Prime you can get it again as the oil or as the soft gels, but this is a super, super important oil because it stands for damaged DNA repair, the DDR part. So it's a blend of essential oils that help so much at the cellular level, your DNA and just all the things that can happen from oxidative stress, which is just a normal thing of life, but also so many of the toxins we're exposed to and just things like that. So it's going to be super, super helpful for your brain and neurological health, again, because some of those cells are so hit hard with the oxidative stress because of fat. That goes down chemistry road, so I'll stay here, but just know that. And super helpful again with autoimmune conditions, really helpful also for improved inflammatory response. So again, if you have a lot of pain, this will kind of help that too. Okay, so quick, this is just a little bit of a supplement schedule, just kind of like a little bit maybe more on the basic side. Again, just taking a Terrazyme before you eat in the morning, and a lot of times Terrazyme is going to be best taken if you can take it about 15 minutes before you have a meal. But if you forget, just take it with your meal. It's better than not having it. And then half of your LLV. So that would be 2 capsules of each of those, DDR Prime. And then around lunchtime, having another Terrazyme, Lifelong Vitality Pack, and Mito 2 Max for some energy. And then Terrazyme, and we like to take PB Assist in the evening just because it really gets again to that gut, and a lot of times it helps with sleep. Okay, really quick, I want to talk about the cleanse, which I'm super excited about because I'll be totally honest, COVID has also changed my eating habits. So I really, really need this myself. Me and my husband are going all in because we really need it. But we always do a cleanse as a team 2 times a year. And the next one that's coming up, the second one that we do each year, is starting September 21st. Am I right with that, Kristen? I think it's the 21st. Yeah, okay. It's the 21st. And so I just want to touch on it really, really fast. And I want to talk about a minute why we cleanse. So toxic buildup. So much of what we've talked about is like brain stuff and pain and all that, those things. And that also is so related to toxins. Again, weight gain, or if you're having a hard time losing weight, this is like a must for you. And let's see, skin stuff, if you have any like eczema, or if you get some breakouts in your skin of any kind, again, that's showing that you have a little bit of toxic overload. Now, God made our bodies so well from the beginning of time that it's really good actually at processing a lot of toxins, or a lot of different toxins. But that said, the toxins that are around us nowadays and that we intake are like way up here, way more than your body generally can handle. And so that's why cleanses are so important. Now, there's so many different kinds of cleanses, right, that like are so restrictive, and I don't even know. There's so many different ones. And so I do want to say this, that when you're cleansing, do what feels best for you. And that's why when we do it as a team, one, because it helps when you have other people doing it with you, but there's 3 different kind of levels that we do as a team. So right here, first you'll see kind of what the cleanse looks like. You'll be taking the Lifelong Vitality Pack, and that's something that a lot of us take on a regular basis, so that doesn't change, right? Taking Terzyme, and the things that we add in are generally down here. So the Zendocrine complex that I talked about, that's the herbal complex that really helps your liver, your lungs, your skin, your colon, just supports it in a big way so that you can get all those toxins out. And then the Zendocrine soft gels, again, that's just the essential oil part, does the exact same thing. And then right here is the GX Assist. So GX Assist is going to be one of those things that really clean out your gut. So again, if you're someone that has a little bit of some stomach stuff, whenever you start taking Lifelong Vitality Pack, GX Assist plus Terzyme are going to be your best friends, okay? Because it's really going to get all that stuff out. And that's what we do right here in that, adding in the probiotic again, and then also then at the end of the cleanse, also adding in some DDR Prime soft gels. So the idea in the cleanse that we do is to, one, activate a lot of the systems to start cleansing themselves right here in that first stage. And then second stage is like the reset. So that's when we add in the GX Assist to really clean out your gut. And then right here in the renew, that is when we add a lot of the extra probiotic and DDR Prime. So that said, that's the supplement portion. And I want to say again, you can totally make this, change it up, whatever's going to be best for you. Okay. So generally, if you are going to do a level 1 cleanse with us, then a lot of time we also heavily focus on food, because like we talked about, food's super important. So we kind of say level 1 is about a salad and a smoothie every day. We really try and go for some working out too, because again, you'll sweat out those toxins, which is really great. Taking the Lifelong Vitality Pack and Terzyme and PB Assist. Okay, so you wouldn't have a lot of, like, you wouldn't add in the Zendocrine or GX Assist or anything like that. Level 2 would be salad in your smoothie every day and no refined sugar, which is really important. If you do this and you do take GX Assist, make sure it's really in that section where you're not having any refined sugar or processed sugar. And then all of the supplements that are right here, okay? Level 3 is a salad or smoothie. And I kind of like to say, honestly, this is close to like a Whole30, if anybody's ever done a Whole30. So it'd be like no dairy, no gluten. In this case, you could probably have some other grains if you wanted to, but we will be doing Whole30 in our house. And then again, all of the supplements. So again, that said, if this seems super overwhelming to you, refine it to whatever is going to work for you. And I think doing this with other people and starting to make it a routine, essentially yearly, will, one, if you have a different chronic illnesses, this will make a gigantic difference. And two, doing this will also be huge in preventative health, okay? So, Kristen, I don't know, do you want to add anything else about the cleanse that we're going to do starting September 21st?
No, that's great. The only thing that I would add was, or is, if you have kids specifically, did you say this already? If you have any kiddos that you think would really benefit from doing some supportive cleanse work, again, it's super safe. doTERRA's cleanse is gentle. It's not anything over the top. But we will be focusing a little bit more on how to support your kids, because there's just so much going on this year and they're really being exposed to a lot of harmful things for their gut with all the antibacterial products that are being used. And so we've never really focused a lot on how to support your kids with some gentle cleansing. And we're going to talk about that this year within our cleanse in September. So we're super excited.
I'm so excited. And there's also, if you want to understand a little bit more on the cleanse, there's going to be a Facebook class next Tuesday. Is that right?
Yep.
Cool. So you'll get a little bit more info on this. But I do just want to say really quick with cleanses, it can be one of those things that are, one, a little bit scary, but also slightly controversial sometimes in the like health world. So that said, a lot of times it's essentially just how you cleanse. So the biggest thing with this cleanse is you are constantly putting good food and nutrients in your body. So it is so much safer. Because if you detox too fast, then it is actually a little bit dangerous. So that's what's another thing to understand about this cleanse is it's not like it's like, oh my God, like Kristen said, like you're going to be on the bathroom the whole time. Like that's not it at all. But it is super, super helpful. Okay, so this point in the class, we talk a lot about how you get these things. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard about the loyalty rewards. It like slipped my brain for a second. Loyalty rewards program. And as you guys know, every time you order on loyalty rewards, you will always get back the shipping you pay for in points. And then you always get a percentage back on your order when you spend over 50 PV. The only way that you would ever lose your points is if you don't order anything at all. So let's say this coming month, you're like, okay, I'm ready to do the cleanse. And this, if we're doing the cleanse and stuff, we would probably definitely change these supplements, right? Definitely you'll want lemon. I forgot to mention lemon in the cleanse. We put that in our water daily for that as well. But you would add the DDR Prime, either the oil or that supplement, and then the Zendocrine Complex and oil is what you would have in your wellness box for this month. So let's say this September, you're like, for your LRP, you're like, okay, I'm ready to do the cleanse. You guys get all the things. And let's say next month, you're like, oh no, I want to take a step back a little bit or not spend as much. As long as you spend 1 PV in your loyalty rewards order, you get to keep your points. And so and then as you accumulate points, right, then you get free stuff. Everyone loves free stuff. I just got a lot of free stuff this last month. I got at least $300 in doTERRA stuff for free, at least. So anyways, this is a really, really fun program, super easy. Again, as you order 50 PV, then you will get up to 30% back. And then if you spend over 125 PV, then there's always a free oil of the month. Again, more free things, as we all love. I think that's about it. Kristen, did I miss anything?
No, that was great, but I know that there's some questions that have come up in the chat, and so I'll pull a few of those for you. And if anybody else has any questions for Rachel, this is a great time to ask. If you want to throw them up in the chat, that'd be perfect. The first question that was asked was, what would you recommend for joint health specifically, if somebody's struggling with joint health?
Definitely Lifelong Vitality Pack. And omega-3s are going to be huge for you. So this actually might be a little interesting, but I would honestly get the kids also omega-3 and take that extra. That would be really, really big for your joints and brain health. And then the other thing that I would say would be the deep blue polyphenols or turmeric, both. So those two are going to be super anti-inflammatory, and that's the biggest thing with joint health. that make
Wait,
sense?
so I'm curious, Rachel. This is so interesting. I'm learning from you. So
Yeah.
if you order the Lifelong Vitality Pack, you can add on the kids kit or you can add on an adult omega, but you're saying instead of adding more of the adult omega, take the kids one.
Well, yeah, I think at least for a month until you can kind of reset your stuff, because um I just taking it with like, because it's a liquid form too, so
Yeah.
one, you can put it in your smoothies or whatever, but
You
yeah,
can
because
pull
you
them.
can get a little bit more that way.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool. Yeah,
mhm.
love it. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay, so the next question was any recommendations for people who really struggle swallowing pills? I know on the LDC, Melissa has her like epic video that has had like a billion views. She
Yes.
demoed how to practice swallowing pills, and it's so good. She's struggled for a long time, so I don't know if you have more
Yes,
to add.
honestly, I would do that. If I'm being honest, I don't have a super hard time with taking supplements, but that said, I do have like a system. So I drink some water and then I pop like one pill like at a time. So put a little bit in your mouth or water in your mouth, and then I put one and swallow it and make sure it's like going straight. If that makes sense. Because I hate when it gets stuck in my throat. My husband though, I would watch Melissa's, but if he doesn't take them right, he starts like gagging and stuff. So like I get it. It's been a show. So anyways, I would say taking one at a time. One, you'll get a lot more water if you can. But I think Melissa talks a little bit about taking like it with juice too.
Yeah.
A lot of people find it a lot easier with juice. Justin actually does too, because then you don't taste anything. Not that I feel like I taste that much, but some people do. So I don't know what else.
And she also talks about like tucking your chin back. She says a lot of times you try to go like that and it actually constricts your throat. So it's like you have to, she like does a whole demo.
Yeah.
Like tuck your chin, drink juice, and drink like this. Use a straw. Yeah.
Look it up on the Facebook page. It's worth it.
Yes, it's so good.
I have a question about that. Question is more like people who are like they don't like to take pills in general. Like what would they do? Like what would you recommend for someone who's just like, no, I really don't like taking pills. It's not like they're struggling to actually take them.
That makes sense. And I understand that. Because taking, and not that you're going to be taking that much all the time, but like whenever I wasn't taking doTERRA supplements, I was taking at least 30 pills a day. And that is exhausting. And it's not sustainable, right? So the thing that I would tell them, one, it's a perspective thing. Like, and I don't mean to be super blunt, but sometimes explaining to someone like, hey, we either have to take a decent amount of pills, with just the way that our world is now, either at the beginning of our life or kind of at the end. And again, I don't mean to be rude, but it's kind of just the truth. So it is a lot of times a perspective change. But the other thing that I'll say too is getting yourself slowly in a routine is huge. So if you're someone who doesn't like taking pills, I would be like, okay, let's start by taking one pill of the Lifelong Vitality Pack with breakfast, and then just do that for like a week, right? And as you like slowly do it and make it part of your routine, then it becomes, and then honestly, when people start taking it and they feel better, that's a more of an incentive to take the pills too. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question more, Haley? Okay.
Yeah, I remember when I was in high school, my grandparents each were taking 14 medications each. And that was a real eye opener for me and has always motivated me a lot with why I want to be preventative now and take supplements now rather than wait till I get sick and have to take a bunch of pills and medications. Haley also asked, do you take Terrazyme with PB Assist? Yes. Do you want to talk a little bit about timing of like when you take which?
Yeah. So with Terrazyme, I don't know if you mean like do you take Terrazyme and PB Assist at the same time, like in one sitting or whatever? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like should a person take a Terrazyme if they're taking PB Assist?
I mean, I wouldn't, just because, I don't know how to say it. It will break down a little bit more quickly too when you do take the Terrazyme, especially in your stomach. So it is a little bit more helpful to take it like PB Assist on an empty stomach. So the most I would recommend taking PB Assist either before you go to bed or like first thing when you wake up in the morning with like a glass of water and lemon in it, lemon oil or whatever you take. I wouldn't take, you could, it's honestly not gonna like do a ton different if you take them both at the same time, but you're gonna get the most benefit from them if you take them at different times in the day. So sometimes, I'll be honest, I take like all of my Lifelong Vitality Pack and pills like at one point in the day because I know I'm gonna be busy for the rest of the day. And so sometimes, but I will always take my PB Assist at night. Just, I don't know if that really helps you at all, but I wouldn't.
That's helpful. Yeah. Thanks, Rachel. And that's all I saw for questions. Oh, wait. Joe asked if there's a ginger essential oil. He said that his girlfriend and him use turmeric and ginger powder in their omelets, and they're amazing used together.
Yeah,
So
I've never done that in an omelet. That's very interesting. But yes, there are both the ginger oil and turmeric oil. And ginger is really strong, so just keep that in mind. You'll probably use a lot less. Probably be a lot cheaper too. But yeah, you can use both of those. And if you wanted to, honestly, you could still do the turmeric and ginger powder, but just add in the oil, and that will also increase the absorption.
I missed a couple questions. Sarah asked, is there a certain oil that helps with hydration?
Honestly, when you cleanse, a lot of times that helps a lot with hydration. So putting like citrus oils, specifically lemon, in your water, that's a lot of times why it's part of the cleanse, will help. A lot of times if there's a little bit of flavor sometimes for people too, then you drink a lot more water. As for like absorption wise, this is where I kind of go a little bit different, but you really want clean water. And that's super, super big because a lot of times people are at least somewhat dehydrated because there's so many toxins in our water. I don't know a ton about the Berkey stuff that you guys use, Kristen, but I get reverse osmosis filtered water, and then we get the minerals put back in them by like, it's a whole process. But anyways, we started that in Waco. So the thing I would say to that is use lemon in your water, and make sure you have really clean water.
That's good. That's good. And then Haley asked if getting the cleanse kit is the most cost-effective way to do the cleanse. And yes, Haley,
is it? Okay.
It is.
Okay.
The cleanse store kit, buying that on your account on LRP, of course, because you want to earn points back on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it wasn't. So yeah.
Cool. That's everything.
It?
Yes.
Cool. All right, friends. Well, this is the time where we're kind of transition to the joy of sharing essential oils. So, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this, but there's about 3 different kinds of people that are join us in doTERRA. It's our customers. So that the first one would be the people who just want to buy the product and live that wellness lifestyle. And these are some of our favorite people. I love hearing stories from my customers all the time, things like that. That's actually the bulk of our team, is just people who love the wellness lifestyle and want to learn and live it. And then the second group of people are people who, when you're like listening to all these classes, you're like, oh my gosh, my mom needs this. Oh, Sally needs that. You're just thinking of all these people who really need certain oils or supplements, and you always talk about the things that you love. That is what we call a sharer. And a lot of times sharers can actually get their product paid for through doTERRA, which is super cool because then you basically get free natural health care. And if I could just get on my soapbox really fast, I think that is by far the best healthcare that you could get. And the fact that you can get it free just by sharing with your friends is super huge. And then the third type of person is someone who sits in some of these classes and they're like, oh my gosh, I would love to teach other people how to live that wellness lifestyle, or share essential oils, or maybe the oils have made a huge impact in your life. And you really want to share that and make an income from it. So those are 3 kinds of people. And I think a lot of you have probably also heard this story of the man who's either hauling buckets while making a pipeline. But I just love to share it because I think it's so impactful and relatable, right? So it goes like this. There's a man in a village, and this is, I would say, probably real life too, honestly. Man in a village, and he, his job every day was to haul multiple buckets to the water source that is just outside of town and bring them back. And he was paid based on every bucket that he hauled. So if he wanted to earn some more money or needed some more money, then he would have to work longer hours just to get a little bit more. But one day he kind of had this idea, right? And he was like, I could start building a pipeline in my spare time. And he was like, what could it do, right? So he started to build this pipeline in his spare time. So sometimes his family was like, what are you doing? Like, spend time with us, right? Or friends were like, why in the world are you doing this? But anyways, he continues to build it. And as he builds it, one day, he turns on that spigot in the village, and there is just constantly water running. And all of a sudden he gets paid on how, like, all the time. That thing will just keep going and going and going all day long. When he sleeps, he's making money, right? So then eventually probably all the people were like, wow, what a good idea. But anyways, I think that is so telling to a lot of the American culture, honestly, these days. It's like we have to work super, super hard kind of just to reach a little bit of a limit sometimes, right? And so this is kind of explains it. The traditional job, we trade hours or buckets, right, for dollars. And then there's a lot of times a limit on the advancement or earnings. Again, you don't make money if you don't go, right? So there's a time limit. And then you're also building other people's dreams, which is great. And I think we all have a place in doing that. I currently also do that. But a lot of times we also want to be able to take that jump and build our own dreams, right? So true, authentic, direct sales is where you can build that pipeline that we were talking about. True residual income, there's no limits on advancements or earnings. So how hard you work is how much you make. You get freedom to choose your schedule. It's on your time. And you get to build your dreams. Whatever, like, whether it's just like caring for and loving on other people through natural health, or if you also want to do something else later on. So really quick, why doTERRA? So doTERRA, one, we all have experienced these oils, right? They are the most trusted, most tested, and the oils that actually work. So we have the retention rate, I think, is close to, it's now probably 68%, 65 to 70, which is like massive when you think direct sales, because I think industry average is anywhere from like, honestly, even like 3 to 20%, which is a pretty big gap. But that even just shows you how much the retention rate for doTERRA is, again, showing you that that pipeline is always running, right? And we're doing so much good for the world, right? The growth rate is also really similar to Apple, which again, just shows you it works, we're growing, it's awesome. One of the other things that is really cool about doTERRA, and I think I've learned a lot more about this in this season, if you've kind of learned a little bit more about the child trafficking or sex trafficking, stuff like that, the way that doTERRA is set up with our co-impact sourcing, makes a gigantic difference in that industry, because people get a like livable living working and picking some of the things that plants that we use for oils or herbs, right? and it keeps them out of those things. So anyways, I just say that to say that doTERRA helps everybody in all aspects of their business. So how do we make money? So honestly, it's pretty simple. We sample. So I'm sure a lot of the people here, you probably received a sample from a friend, right? To figure out what oils work best for you. We teach. And if you're someone who wants to be like a sharer, and you're not quite wanting to like build an income, you don't always have to share a lot of time or teach. A lot of times the person who enrolled you, or again, the LDC is huge. Obviously, we all have different teachers for all these classes. So that's not always on you too. And then we enroll, and then we support. So again, that's why we do continuing education. We do the cleanse. We do all sorts of different things to support everyone. So right here is just a little bit of an idea of the income opportunities with doTERRA. You'll see kind of the first couple down here is really kind of that first type of person, which is someone who wants to pay for their product. Right here is probably someone who wants to supplement their income. So if that means a lot, that just means a lot of different things for people, whether it's like, we want to pay off debt quicker, or send our kids to this school, or different things like that. And then right here is replace and multiply your income. So that just, these are average monthly earnings that you would see in the company. And right here, I just want to share a little bit of what this business has meant for me and my husband. I'm actually 24 years old. And so this isn't like the typical business for someone to do when we're 24. But let me tell you, I would say for my husband and I, just working it, one, has brought us so much hope, one, for our dreams, but also just to hope that we can help people. Like we just constantly get to see people encounter real healing because of natural products. And that is super huge. Something that I've been super passionate about for a super long time. There's a better way a lot of times when it comes to our health, and being able to constantly share that has brought so much life to us and purpose. The other thing that I think has been huge for us in this business, especially in this season or this year, has been the flexibility of this business. I mean, we got married earlier this year during everything COVID, when it all blew up. And just having the flexibility to say, okay, my work time needs to shift a little bit here and a little bit there, was huge. And not only that, when things shifted quite a bit, we were still getting our products paid for. We were still getting a little bit extra. So it was honestly another sense of assurance, just to have something, I don't want to say a backup, because it's not going to be our backup. It's going to be our real deal at one point. But all that to say, I believe that the Lord has just blessed us greatly with this business and the flexibility and the purpose of it. So we've loved making relationships with people, and just the hope and assurance that it gives us. So that is kind of what the business means to me. And so with that said, how much time does it really take to get to those places where, you know, you're getting your products paid for or supplementing your income? And about paying for your product is about 3 to 5 hours a week. And that's like intentional, you know, any of these hours are like intentional time, like talking to people and loving on people. And to supplement your income, it is about 10 to 15 hours a week. And then to replace your income is about 15 to 30. And again, like I said, that can fluctuate as needed. I think a lot of us on the LDC could say that we've all been in different places with this business. Sometimes at first we were all like, let's pay for our product. Oh, wow, let's supplement our income. Oh, wow, we could actually make this our living. So you can shift. Now, I know a lot of people are like, could this actually work for me? Well, my question to you would be, do you love your oils? Do they work? Are you passionate about them? If so, totally. Do you care about people? Do you love people? And I would say probably most of us, yes. Maybe not always, but for the most part, right? And then can you follow a system and get things done? When you go to work and when you want to do something, do you do it? And if you say yes to these things, then absolutely, this business could totally be for you. So then what would be the next step? I would first kind of identify where you land right now. So are you someone who wants to get your products paid for, supplement your income, or really want to go for it and build this as a full-time business? And then there will be some business made easy presentations to come in the future. So make sure you guys just reach out to whoever enrolled you to really kind of get some more info on that. And then the next step I would say would be to start learning the system. Like I talked about, can you follow a system and get things done? And you do so by going to dailymentorcalls.com. And just kind of making a little account and listening to those daily mentor calls. And that's how you get started. This last little slide is a fun little saying, and it says, and suddenly you just know it's time to start something new and trust the magic of a new beginning. And that is certainly doTERRA. It's a journey, but it's absolutely beautiful. So that's all I have. I don't think we probably have any more questions or anything along those lines. Do we, Kristen? Oh, you're still muted.
Sorry, no other questions that I'm seeing in the chat box, but a lot of people commenting on how smart you are for your years in many ways, more ways than one.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for bringing all your nutrition and all your knowledge for us to glean from tonight. It was really great.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I absolutely love it. So anyways, if anybody has more questions, I'm always open.
Yeah. And I'll